What's the deal, my people? You know it is the Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And this one is House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 4, Trailer Breakdown. I'm going to break down this trailer for you, tell you everything that's going on. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into it.
Only weeks ago, my lord husband was alive, and the realm was at peace.
So after the politics of the first couple of episodes, we are finally going to get our first truly big battle. And I do believe that this battle will most likely take up most of the time that we see on this show. Devastating what's going to happen at the end of this battle. We'll get into that at the end. We then hear Rhaenyra talking to the clubfoot, and I don't see her shoe off at this time. I don't know if she had it off a little bit earlier, but I really can't see the girl's feet and see if she's trying to get some information out of this guy. But what's going on here is she's saying that it was only weeks ago when her husband was alive, which lets you know the time frame that all this stuff is happening really fast. There hasn't been years or anything like that in between. This is right after the bat, and all of a sudden war and chaos is about to break loose. We then see Aegon playing with his fidget spinner, well, a little ball, marble you want to call it, because she's talking about him.
You might be half the king your father was.
Tread carefully.
Or what?
There's two main battles that are about to happen. That's the one at Duskendale and the battle at Rook's Rest. Now, when you get to Duskendale, Cole has already boosted his army with the Rosbys and the Starkworths. Then he goes to Duskendale. By this time, Gunther Darkling, he tries to tell Rhaenyra, I need help. I need dragons to come down here and save him. She tries to respond to that, but before that, Christopher Cole has Gunther Darkling beheaded. We see this in the trailer so that we know that this is taking place there. We can also see that there are siege weapons in this army. We can see that they have the battering rams out there. They also have the long bowmen. So this looks like it's going to be the siege. That's what we're most likely going to see in this episode. And then the second half of the episode, we're going to get the Battle of Rook's Rest, and we'll talk about that in a second. We see Alicent talking to Aegon in the small council room, and she's saying maybe you'll be half the king your father was. And he's like, yo, watch your mouth. And she's like, what? So what that means to me is like she's telling them, what are you going to do to me? You're going to kill your own mother? I don't think you're really willing to go that far. And it also says that I think she believes what Rhaenyra was telling her. When Rhaenyra met her in the Scepter Baelor, I think that now she realizes that she made a mistake, that her husband did not want him to sit the Iron Throne, but it has gone too far that they cannot go back. There's no way around that. They're going to have to continue this war, and that's just what it's going to be. No matter what we see on the side, we all have to remember that this is a story about two friends. One who was supposed to be the queen and her best friend who wind up out of duty marrying her father. And at the core of it, they are still those two little girls. The ones that joked and laughed together and just wanted to hang out with each other all the time, and now have families of their own, and now are on opposing sides due to these families. And it's just a sad story of how far people can grow apart, not on anything on their own, but the choices they're forced to make. The last thing, we talked about it already, that is the beheading of Gunther Darkling, and that is the sacking of Duskendale. That's what they show us. We get a shot of the Queen's pompous brother who does not like Criston Cole whatsoever. I mean, who does like Criston Cole? But he doesn't like him because he's moved up the ranks a little bit too fast. It's something that he may want, and that is to be handed a king. But if not, he's mad that his grandfather is not handed a king. So he does not like him. He's never going to respect him. We do see Alicent playing with what looks like a piece from her late husband's Lego set that we seen King Aegon break up, and maybe this is what causes the whole stir and her to go into that room and start talking to him and saying that maybe you'll be half the man that your father was as a king. Maybe that's what leads up to it when she sees this broken piece.
You're afraid, sir?
Worse, I'm rational.
My father believed that iron was meant to unite the realm.
We see Damon talking to Allison's brother again, asking him if he's afraid, and he says he's rational, which means that this is not the siege, this is the Battle of Rook's Rest. Why would he be afraid? Because we're talking about fighting dragons, and we do see Vhagar out there, and we also see Melee's, which is Rhaenys' dragon. So no doubt, Rook's Rest. This is a battle that could be the last episode of the season, and we're getting it halfway through. We see Daemon walking in King's Landing, 100% that this is another dream sequence. We see him go through this last episode.
Send the dragons to war. The horrors I have just loosed cannot be for a crown alone.
We see Rhaenyra talking to Jace on Dragonstone, and what she's trying to tell him is that she's not just doing this for the crown. That means she's talking about the Song of Ice and Fire. She might tell him about it. We see the Battle of Rook's Rest, and we see that this is a dragon battle, not just a regular dragon battle that we've seen in Game of Thrones, but a dragon on dragon battle, which is going to be crazy because we see Aemon, what looks like he's being shot at by a dragon and trying to escape that whole situation and not get burnt down. And then we see Rhaenyra's crown on the floor, and it's significant that it's her crown on the floor. Again, this is a battle that could be an episode 9 of Game of Thrones, and we're getting it this early. That's my video. You tell me what you think, and if you can, watch my last video of how Tywin Lannister would have won this whole Dance of Dragons battle quick fast. It'll be at the end of this video. If you like the way I do this, please thumbs up, just spread this across the realm, and of course subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.